We've heard over and over in the news that these large language models make all kinds of mistakes and can lie to you, and they'll never admit their mistakes in the first place, and they'll keep telling you they're right and produce weird outputs. And of course, this fundamentally kind of misses the point of the tool. These aren't meant to be tools for answering questions necessarily. Now, sometimes they can answer questions and do it very accurately. And sometimes they produce things that look like answers but aren't actually accurate. And so as long as we understand they're really for generating text, and sometimes the text they generate can answer things for us correctly, and sometimes it's going to make mistakes, as long as we realize that, we can use these tools effectively. Now, one thing we can do is we can use prompts to support us in our identification of what are the facts that the tool is putting into its output and which of those facts really matter. And we can go and then follow up on them and check them. Now, one of the things that happens sometimes when we're working with output from these tools is that because the output looks so realistic, so human, so convincing, we assume that it's true. And when it's producing large volumes of text, it can be hard to spot all the different assumptions and facts that are baked into the text that we really need to follow up on and fact check. Anything you get out of one of these models, you need to take ownership of and make sure that you've checked it thoroughly and really believe it. What do we do to support us in this effort of trying to make sure the output is correct and factual? Well, we can use the fact checklist pattern to help us figure out what facts are actually in the output and need to be followed up on. So I'm going to give you an example of this. So I've taken our outline expansion tool. And if you remember, we used a couple of different patterns, including the menu actions pattern. We used the outline expansion pattern. We had several different capabilities. One of the things we could do is we could go and expand the outline. We also added the ability to be able to generate text for any bullet in the outline. And we can generate for a number of items. And we had a whole menu system to be able to do this. Now, one of the things we'd like to be able to do is when we do generate text for part of the outline, I'd like to know what I need to follow up on and fact check at that point in order to make sure that I don't present information that's inaccurate. So if we look at this, the way that we can do this is with the fact checklist pattern. We say, whenever you output text, generate a set of facts that are contained in the output. The set of facts should be inserted at the end of the output, and you could put them wherever you want. I'm just putting them at the end. The set of facts should be fundamental facts that could undermine the veracity of the output if any of them are correct. So I'm setting up a new set of instructions for the large language model that says, anytime you produce text, give me the corresponding set of facts that the text depends on. And that's the way I can go and follow up on them and check them. And so it says it understands. And so now I'm going to use our outline expansion program that we've written. I'm going to tell it to write a paragraph for section 3.5.2.2. So this section is considerations for choosing the appropriate style, and it generates a whole paragraph of text for me. And then what it does is it generates a set of fundamental facts down here that are the facts that are contained within the paragraph. And so the facts are, for example, writing style can range from technical to creative to instructional. There are other things like instructional content may adopt a clear and step-by-step style. Now this paragraph that I chose for it to write, it has a lot of different facts that maybe they're correct, maybe they're not, but it's not something that I have to worry as much about going and extracting and just staring at text, because I now have a list of things to follow up on. At a minimum, I need to look at this list and follow up on these items, or just actually visually check them myself for my own knowledge. That's sort of the minimum level. Now I have a minimum bar. At least these things I need to go and follow up on, and it's sort of flagging to me, here are some things that you need to go and check. The other thing I can do is I can compare this list to the paragraph up here. So any person that's probably using one of these tools can compare, here's the list of facts below, here's the actual text above. Is the list of facts complete? Are there statements in the text above that are missing below? And if there are, those are probably things that I would want to go and follow up on as well. And so by checking and comparing the two lists, one, we can see, is it really fully extracting all of the facts that are important. And that in itself will clue us into and make us think through, what is this really saying and what are the fundamental facts to it. So just the sort of the action of going and comparing the facts to the text it's produced will help us get us into the mode of thinking through the correctness of what it's produced. The next thing I can do is I have a minimum bar. At least I need to go and check up. At the very minimum, I need to go and check the list of facts that it produced and follow up and make sure that they are correct. And if any of them is incorrect, then probably there's an error in the text above. And then if I notice that there's something in the text above through this comparison that's also not present in the facts, I could add that to my list and go check it. So this is a tool that can help us, get into the mode of fact checking the output. It may be correct, but we still don't know for sure until we actually fully follow up on it. And this gives us some tools to help us, one, know that there are things to follow up on, at least follow up on these things, and then two, to help us give us a tool that we can go and compare to what it produced to see, is the minimum list of things that I followed up on good enough, or are there all other things that are in that text that maybe I should think through or follow up on? Now, it doesn't guarantee that we're going to come up with the right answer. We might think that it's still accurate when it's not, even if we follow up on those facts. There may be some hidden assumptions, but it's much better than if we just read a bunch of text with no sort of support or stimulus to think through the fact-checking process. So the fact checklist pattern is something that helps us get us into the mode of checking the output, checking its veracity, and having a format that makes it easier for us to sort of extract and compare the information and the sets of facts with what's really true using other external sources.